Okay, first of all, your name.
My name's Constable Roy Pippin, Jr., Jacinto County Precinct 2.
Spell your last name.
Pippin, P-I-P-P-I-N.
Tell me, you alerted of the shooting day, you alerted the suspects fled. What happened then?
I answered up to dispatch to come and assist for the shooting that had taken place. Being small agencies, we try to work together. I started coming towards Coldspring via Highway 150. As I was coming down Highway 150, they gave a vehicle description and a possible location. Officers arrived on that location, stated the vehicle wasn't there. It was a newer model, dark in color. It was either blue, dark gray, dark blue, Impala, Chevrolet Impala. And as I was traveling towards Coldspring on 150, I observed an Impala coming towards me. I pulled over on the shoulder to make an approach on the vehicle. As I turned around, they sped or picked up speed. And I came around the corner at near Highway 150 at Buck Road, and they had parked the vehicle and fled on foot.
What happened from that point on then?
Once they fled on foot, I checked the vehicle to make sure there was no other persons in the vehicle. Also looked at, eyes view, looking from the outside, didn't enter the vehicle at any point. Checked eyes view to make sure there was any weapons or any other persons in the vehicle. And then I began giving the instructions or information to the other units that were involved in the call, that the subjects in a vehicle that matched the description had fled from me, had parked the vehicle and fled on foot into the wooded area.
Now, did you enter the woods at that time, or did you start the perimeter?
Because of the persons had already fled, and they were probably a good 1/10 of a mile ahead of me. I did not enter the woods. We had already contacted TDC, and they had the dogs en route, and we had already made contact with Texas Highway Patrol, and they were going to dispatch a helicopter to the area as well. Because the TDC dogs, the way they work is off a human scent, and if anybody enters the woods or enters the location to where the dogs are going to start or going to track, our scent can throw it off.
So what, TDC got here with the dogs, or DPS helicopter, or what?
DPS helicopter arrived about the same time that TDC arrived with the dogs. The Polunsky unit arrived on scene. They brought their package of dogs, the 3 horses, 6 dogs. We entered at the last known location of the subjects. They had fled throughout the woods to different areas and were spotted. I also spotted them in the Railroad Avenue subdivision, Dixon subdivision. I had spotted the males over there, and then we received a call via 911 that the males were at the other end of the High Line, approximately 15 to 20 minutes apart. So at that point, because it was the last known location of the subjects, we dispatched from there, and that's where we launched.
You went basically, you horsebacked them on the dogs and tracked them. How far did y'all track them, and for how long?
It was probably from the initiation point, where the last point they were located, to the point they were actually found and apprehended would probably be close to a mile and a half through the trail, approximately a half a mile the way the crow flies, which is straight through.
How did you finally locate them?
The dogs picked up their scent, and once the dogs picked up their scent, they did what's called tree 'em. Whether the subjects were in a tree or on the ground hiding, it's unknown. Once the dogs started giving their bark and their command that they found the dog or found the subjects, we were approaching on horseback, myself and the TDC sergeant and the other dog handler. We began to make our approach, and that's when the subjects began hollering. I assumed that they were scared of the dogs. At that time, we gave them commands to come out to the road. They laid down on the road. We put them in handcuffs, and they were apprehended at that time.
They still have weapons on them at that point?
There was no weapons located on their person at the time of apprehension.
Okay, so what happens now?
At this point, the investigation is ongoing. I'm not involved in that part of the investigation, and I can't per se tell you what's going on. I know that the Sheriff's Department, along with the Texas Highway Patrol Rangers Division, is here, and they are working together to try to figure out what actually happened today, and they're interviewing the suspects or subjects at this time.
Do they believe those two were the only two involved?
It is possible. There could be a third person, but it's unknown at this time.
And do you know any idea how many were shot? Do they still confirm two?
At this point, I'm not able to speak on any of that. I wasn't on the shooting scene, and I don't know any of the information on that scene.